Okay.
There you
Good
go.
morning, Michelle. How are you?
I'm great, Lisa. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no, thank you for coming on the call with us. I am on a call with small business owner, personal health and nutrition coach, Michelle Simpson. And Michelle, you work with clients who have root health issues that they need to address, and they want to have better health through food, lifestyle, and other practices, right?
Yes.
So I want to thank you for being here. We are going to jump right in and talk about the launch of your new business.
Okay. Thank
Michelle
you.
Simpson Wellness, and working with Original Ginger. So we're going to jump right in and just ask you, so what were your goals coming into this project?
Okay. So originally my goals were to launch an online presence. Really, I've done nutrition for a number of years and I've gone off and on. So the whole goal was to establish a website that reflected who I am, what I offer, and really just to have a presence, whether it was social media and website too.
Right.
That was
okay.
a goal. Yeah.
Which you now have both.
I do.
Yes.
I do.
So what reservations did you have when you were first entering into the project?
The biggest reservations was, will they get it right?
Right.
I think that was the thing, because I want to make sure that I'm representing myself in a way without being overly involved. But I was a little hesitant on, hey, will they get it right?
Yeah.
Will they know me well enough to represent who I am?
This is your baby.
This is my baby. And you know what? You guys did a fantastic job.
Oh,
Bar
thank
none.
you.
Yeah, you really
Thank
got
you.
the presence of who I am, the essence of who I am, and the direction I wanted to go. So
it was
fabulous.
a fun project working with you. You're a very organized person. You're very decisive. So certainly that made our job so much easier.
That's good.
So did you have a budget in mind at the beginning of the project?
Yeah, I was looking to spend about $5,000, give or take. I know that to have a good website, there's a big investment often too for what I was looking for.
Yeah.
But I also didn't want to cheap out either, because then you don't get good quality. So there's definitely, you get what you pay for. So as a small business, independent, just myself, that $5,000 mark is kind of what I was looking for.
Did you approach Original Ginger to work with you to launch your business?
Well, because I've worked with you guys before through my previous employer. And I loved working with you guys because you are super organized. You're on it. You're thorough. What you gave to the previous employer was amazing. And I just knew you're the team that I wanted to work with.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate that. So what specific services and expertise did you require from us? What were you looking for?
Well, the biggest one was branding. So that for me, because I have a background in marketing, but the branding component was something that isn't my forte. So I wanted it to be really cohesive and clear. So I really wanted that, and then putting it all together in a website so that I actually wasn't the one working on it, because when you're in it, sometimes you can be, well, in my case, I can be a little bit squirrely and then get other ideas. So you guys kept it like all together and on track and on point.
On track. Yeah. Now you also required a learning management system and e-commerce as well, right?
That's correct. That was after really the original project. What we did was for the website, and then I was able to get the grant funding through the government for the e-commerce side, which was amazing because that really helped. Honestly, that was the bigger budget actually at the end of the day. So I was really grateful to have that.
Yeah. And thank goodness the government was offering that, because it was a really tough time for small businesses, particularly people at the beginning of the journey like yourself that were just launching.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So the biggest challenge that you had in launching your business was what?
The biggest challenge in launching my business, I would say consistency and getting it done, like getting the website done, and the brand. Honestly, the brand part of being clear about who I am and what I'm offering. That's the biggest challenge.
It takes a time commitment for sure to think about your brand in terms of marketing as well.
Yeah.
And you're in it. It's your baby, so you're close to it.
Yes.
And being able to write about yourself, like the content, the brand messaging and the content, it's hard to write about yourself, even if you're a writer, you know.
Yeah. Yes.
So once you chose Original Ginger, what were your expectations going into the project?
Well, my expectations, truthfully, was that you guys were going to do an amazing job and be on time. I think that was a big thing. It wasn't going to be dragged out. It wasn't, you guys would be really clear and you guys would be really honest with me. And I think that that's a really big thing. You weren't going to like tiptoe around anything. You were going to be really direct. And I really appreciate that because some people would just be like, oh, no problem. Yeah, just do, rather than, hey, here's why not to do it that way, or here's why to do it this way. So
yeah,
super important.
Hopefully we're kind about the way we approach that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, you guys are great. Like you're straightforward and I appreciate that very much.
But you're also a very professional person yourself. And I think, you know, looking at it from a business perspective, you're expecting this to be an exercise that we're going to make the best decisions together, collaboratively for your business, right? I mean,
absolutely.
That's a true partnership of working with an agency. So the challenges that you have, you sort of confirmed we were able to help you solve that. But let's talk about the different phases of your project and how that went. So a lot of people, you know, they've never done this before. They don't know what to expect. In your case, you kind of knew what to expect. You've worked with us before.
Somewhat,
but,
yeah.
So why did you decide not to DIY the website?
Well, for me personally, I can have a lot of ideas and then start implementing and then wander off onto something else. So not only that, but I wanted consistency. Right. And I don't I know WordPress, but I don't know WordPress like you know WordPress as being a developer. So I wanted it to be cohesive across the board. And honestly, I would rather put my effort into other things and let you guys as the experts in this really handle it. Mm-hmm. I could do it.
It's a time factor.
Yeah, time factor. I mean, I can do it. And there was a time factor in the sense that I still had to provide the basic content and whatever else that you guys required. And so there was, for me, time involved, investment. And there was times when I was not super on it, but I still got it completed, right? Yeah. Like I think for a lot of people.
It went pretty smoothly though.
It did.
We hit all of our timelines. You know, we
100%.
Really did.
100%. Yeah. And you guys are just really great to work with in the sense that you stay on that timeline and you would remind me sometimes, hey, how's it going? Oh yeah, I better get this done.
I think that's fit though, Michelle. And I think, I mean, wouldn't you agree that that's the important thing when someone's looking for an agency or web designer to help them, you really need to think about, is this going to be a fit?
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Yeah. So how did you find the process from beginning to end? Like you've mentioned, you know, we hit our timelines and everything. Did you find it more difficult than you thought it would be, or?
Well, you know, I wouldn't say it was difficult from that perspective. I'd say it was difficult for me to really think about myself and my offer and my services. Because when you're still launching a brand new business, you can have a whole bunch of ideas and a whole things that you want to do. So to kind of like narrow it down, I think that was the difficult part. But for you guys really kept me on. It was so smooth and so thorough that I didn't have to worry. Like I just knew what my next step was anyway. Yeah. And it like that made it so much easier.
It's a bit of a relief. The stress is off your shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, you're actually a client who really knew who you were and how you wanted your business to be, what your offerings were going to be. But sometimes you have to rein it in a little bit and focus on one or two things initially to get things launched and then expand from there. So, and there's nothing wrong with having that inspiration for sure. But then we have to stay on track. So, so it's nice when you have that collaboration to do that. Yeah. So did you think, we've talked about time commitment to the process. Did you think that the time commitment you made was worthwhile?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think it was concise enough and long enough at the same time. Like it was just the right balance. So yeah, I definitely thought it was good.
And did you make any did you have any aha moments, like discoveries during the project where you thought, oh, I didn't think of that, or, oh, that just gave me a really great idea? Did you have any kind of moments like that?
Yeah, but I actually think it was more about peeling back than it was about expanding. It's like, oh, I got way too many offers. Like I really got to hone this in onto a couple of key ones that are going to have a good ROI and keep me inspired. So I think that that's where I learned more about, oh yeah, I don't really need all of this. And even now I can probably pare it down even more.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would, that was my learning part of it for sure.
Yeah. Is don't expand too quickly.
Yeah.
But when you're building the website, obviously you do have to think about the future so that you know what's coming, like the learning management system in the e-commerce, which is, I think, why we decided WordPress was the way to go, because you wanted to be able to add these other things as your business grew, right?
Exactly.
Which is what ended up happening.
Yeah.
So when we, at the end of the website project, we have a little membership area for our clients, and we have some WordPress tutorials, and you're able to go in and learn how to do some basic things yourself. Did you find the tutorials helpful?
Yeah, I mean, I have some experience with WordPress, and I did go in and I learned some more, some things that I didn't have, like it's a different, the Genesis.
The Gutenberg blocks.
Yeah. So, I learned some stuff from that. So I think they are helpful. If somebody doesn't know WordPress, it's definitely helpful.
Yeah. Awesome. Good.
Yeah.
And so you needed us to integrate, we talked about the e-commerce portion of things, and you needed us to integrate e-commerce to your WordPress website so that you could sell your health and nutrition project. So let's talk about, how that went. So first of all, did you have an e-commerce software in mind already?
Not anything specific. I know there's just so many out there. So for me, I was taking sort of what you guys presented to me because it, like, all the back end stuff. I didn't. I had some ideas. I presented, I was thinking about this one, but you guys steered me away in a good way. Like, here's why, and I think that made a big difference. So I went.
Yeah, I think in your case, because we wanted to integrate the e-commerce right into the site, we didn't want people to leave your website and go somewhere else to go shopping. And get distracted. We wanted to keep them on your site, but you also wanted something that was really easy to use, like from a dashboard perspective, so you could upload your products and easily add things. Did that, I mean, that's the recommendation we made. How do you find it now that you've been using it? Is it easy?
It's really good. Yeah, it's super easy. And I'm excited to actually keep adding more and expanding. So
good.
Definitely easy to use.
Awesome. So how did you find the process of working with us when we were setting up the storefront? Like what was the process like for you to make sure that you got all your products in, that you had all the features you needed?
Yeah, I think that went actually just as smooth as the website, honestly. You guys are super thorough. So, I mean, to me, the document, I'm like, at first, but at the end of the day, it's so thorough that it's everything that I needed to be able to provide to you. Yeah. So it got set up, and it helped me actually understand more of the details of what I need to do moving forward too.
Yeah.
So
for your from an e-commerce.
Yeah, exactly. So no, I thought it was really, really well done.
Okay, good. Awesome. Well, the products look really good on the website.
Yeah, they do.
I've been taking a look at that.
They do, and I'm excited for more. I mean, that was the thing. I didn't actually have these products ready to go. So it was a time crunch for me to I better get them done. So a little pressure on myself, but it's not a bad thing. It was all good.
But you got to have a little fun because you are a creative person, and you are able to use Canva and other tools, and you
Yes.
were able to create some of your own product images. So you
Yeah.
provided those to us. So it was really kind of a collaborative thing. Like you gave us the images to put into the store,
Yes.
and
Yes.
then we popped them in, and they look really good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. I'm glad. Yeah. That part was fun. And I enjoy that for sure.
And you get to do, that's the thing when you work with, an agency who's taking care of the technical stuff, you're able to kind of do a little bit of a hybrid where you can do a little bit of stuff yourself if you want to,
Yeah.
and even write up, the descriptions for your products and things if you want to. And then we just take care of all the setup stuff so that it's just
Absolutely.
you. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think you guys actually changed a couple of the descriptions to make it more SEO friendly.
Yeah.
And so that was really helpful too. It's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, okay, makes sense. And
Yeah, we want people to be able to
directive.
find the products for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. And there was a couple of adjustments because of the way that mine is set up that you guys said, hey, we're going to do it this way instead. And here's why. So that was really helpful too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love working with the e-commerce software. So now we have a membership area, and we had some e-commerce tutorials for you. Did you find those helpful to know how to do stuff, or did you find it so easy you didn't really need them?
I didn't really need them. But doesn't mean that I wouldn't go back and look at them if I needed. You know what I mean? So I think for somebody who hasn't got a lot of experience in that, it would be really helpful. But for myself, I found it to be super intuitive and quite easy. So yeah.
Yeah, I think though you're how would you sort of rate yourself from a tech savvy perspective? Because you do have a bit of a marketing background, right?
Yeah.
And you are tech savvy, I would say.
Yeah, I would lean more on the just above intermediate.
Yeah.
Kind of component. Like I wouldn't be able to develop like you guys, but I definitely have a good grasp on it, and it doesn't take me long to understand the back end of things. So yeah.
So if somebody weren't quite as tech savvy as you, do you think they would have an issue using the e-commerce or
no?
Okay.
No, I think the tutorials will run it through, and then it like I said, it's pretty intuitive once you do it. It's like a no-brainer almost on how to set it up. So yeah.
So do you feel that the e-commerce that was set up and the integration to WordPress, do you think it was worth the money? Was the value there, do you feel?
Yeah, I do. Well, not just the e-commerce, but the LMS, and then also the email marketing, like all of the integrations. I think the value is definitely there. Now, the key is to capitalize on that.
Right. Because you've got all the tools now.
I have all the
complete content marketing system.
Yes.
And so, speaking of the learning management system, we'll talk about content marketing in a minute, but during the project, you asked us about video bumpers, because we put what we call video bumpers on at the beginning and end of our videos so that it's very branded and professional.
Yes.
And so you had asked us, could you do some video bumpers for me? So we did do that. So how did you find the video bumpers, and have you been using them yet?
They're great. And no, I have not.
Okay.
But that's, honestly, it's one of those things where for me personally, Lisa, it's like, okay, now I need to actually get running. Yeah. Everything's set up and get running. And sometimes I'm my own worst procrastinator.
Well, there's a lot of responsibilities.
So I know I'll be using them for sure a lot. It's just I haven't had the opportunity. Yet. So I haven't gone and changed it out or anything like that for the LMS. I think
this is the thing, like when you own you own a small business and you're running the business and you're launching the business, because your business was already had clients. You already had customers.
Yeah.
You were running the business while you were launching the business.
Yes.
So, that time commitment can be tough for that reason.
And it's just me, really, right? Yeah. So if I had a whole team, I think it could be different, but it really is just me. Even moving forward, right now, it is me.
Yeah.
Right. So content, integrating, doing email marketing, it's me. And sometimes I just don't have the capacity.
Yeah.
And that's my own thing. It's part of business. And so, I know it's there and I can use it and I want to use it and capitalize on it. And so now it's just doing it.
Yeah. Making you being accountable. Yeah. One of the reasons that we created the video bumper for you was because you were going to have a learning management system. So you're going to be providing online learning for people for health and nutrition, right?
Yes.
Which is awesome, by the way. And so people, not only can they hire you for your coaching for your business and hire you for one-on-one coaching, and that could be for any specific health issues they have. You can come up with a plan for them.
Yes.
But you also wanted to have online learning for the health and nutrition side of things. So the video bumpers, you wanted to use those at the front and the end as intros and extras to your courses, to your to each chapter in your course. Have you launched any of those courses yet for people?
I do have one course right now, and it's around breaking up with sugar. So it's a great one. It's something that people always ask about, is like, how do I get rid of my sweet tooth, or diabetes, or even preventing because it runs in their family, all that kind of stuff. So that's what the one course that I do have currently. And
they can find that at michellesimpsonwellness.com.
That's correct.
And they can just go straight to that learning management, or they can also hire you as a one-on-one coach.
Absolutely. And sometimes the combination of the two is the better approach, so that you can get an insight specifically to your situation. Not just a generic, hey, do all of these things. It's very specific to the situation individually.
So you've got the one for breaking up with sugar. You also have some courses and also just nutrition guides that people can purchase. So they can actually go to your store from the website and purchase a guide that's a self-guide to recipes. And you have amazing recipes. The team were very hungry when they were like looking at some of the recipe stuff as we were, producing content and putting it on the site and everything. Yes. It looked like pretty good stuff. Like not your typical kind of diet food where you're like, oh, I'm gonna have to starve myself. It's not like that.
No, and I don't ever encourage you to starve yourself ever, especially for women in particular. We're taught this sort of like diet culture of like reduce your calories to basically nothing. But that actually is counterproductive in not just weight loss, but in hormonal health too. So the recipes are not diet recipes at all, but and they're also not like junk food either, right? Like they're a good combination of good healthy food and comfort at the same time. So,
and that's kind of a big one too. So you talked about the hormones. So you have recipes that are for people that are gluten-free. You have recipes for women who are in menopause or going through that change. You have recipes that are great for ADHD. Is that?
I do. Yes, I do. And as well as digestive issues. There's pretty much anything and everything really that you can get. If I were to say one thing though, it would be go back to basics for anybody and everybody. You know, like there are specific things that if you say have kidney disease that you may want to avoid. But overall, go back to basics.
But it's nice to have, like, to be able to purchase a guide, and they are not expensive for the value that's in those guides. The toughest place for people to start is often, well, I don't know what to make. What do I make? I have this lifestyle where I'm making these certain foods and I can no longer have those foods. So now what do I do? Well, you can go buy these guides and you can start off with some really simple recipes. And then if they need to, they can get one-on-one coaching and you can share some more information with them about how to kind of get themselves back on the road to health, right?
Absolutely. They all complement each other. Everything in my store will complement one another for sure.
As always, we learn a lot when we take on a client project. We're very interested in learning what it is that our clients do and how they do it, what makes them unique. And we learn so much as we're writing content and creating visuals. We're really taking a deep dive into, who your target audience is. Sometimes we see ourselves in that audience. Like for me, being gluten-free, being celiac, I could really relate to that. So we learn a lot from our clients. Like this is definitely a collaboration. and
Yes.
everybody's learning from each other, and we're supporting, being that we're women in business, we're supporting each other.
Yeah.
So it was a really great collaboration on this project, and I really enjoyed learning a lot about what you do.
Good.
At
Good.
Michelle
Yeah.
Simpson Wellness. Yeah. So now we're going to jump to the consulting services, where we're going to talk a little bit about content marketing. So you have a bit of a marketing background, and so maybe tell us a little bit about your experience with marketing.
Well, it's been ongoing. I've always had a small business, and then I've worked with companies in doing a marketing strategy and implementation, as well as execution too. I am not a marketing and brand strategy agency like yourself. Yeah. So I would say that I'm not a super expert, but I know enough about social marketing and how it works and the back end and how you tie it in and funnels, etc. So I do have some experience in that. But that being said, even though I have the experience, when it comes to doing it for myself, it's a little bit trickier, I guess, right? Because you sometimes second guess yourself on whether or not this is the right path and this is the right thing to do, or should I focus on this or whatnot too. So I think you guys really helped steer me in the right direction.
Well, it's nice to have a bit of a tour guide and also just a refresher.
Yeah.
And also something that's actionable. So it's sort of making you accountable. You've got some worksheets that, you can sort of sit down and think about. And if you have a question, you can ask the question and get an answer from somebody who's expert at doing it, who's doing it in the current marketplace. So was your time commitment to the scheduled consultations worthwhile? Because they were each an hour. And there was a series of them, and I know that we sort of accelerated yours to 2 a week for a while. And how did you find that? Was that a good idea? Should we have maybe, I don't know.
I actually think I would have preferred to have gone a little bit longer. And so with that funding, I understood that you had to have it done in a certain amount of time, but truth is, no, you didn't. So I think that I would have preferred to have gone through a process of each one and done the work and created the content or created something and then worked off of it, piggybacked off of it. I think that would have been actually more beneficial. But the value definitely was there for sure.
So what you're saying is you take the first consultation, you have time to work on your worksheets and get the work done. And then by the next consultation, you're building on what you've done.
Yeah.
But you didn't have time in between. That's right. Because the funding, you felt it had to be accelerated because
they wanted it done in a certain amount of time. And it was it felt like a time crunch. And so there was a little bit of stress on that, but the value for what you gave me was tremendous, and it was very helpful.
Awesome.
And I can go back on some of the worksheets and stuff too and continue on.
Keep them with you and refer back to them.
Yes.
So did you make any discoveries or have any aha moments during the consultations where you thought, oh my gosh, what a great idea, or anything like that? Did it inspire you?
Yeah, I would say it inspired me to really niche down to a specific market and understand that I can have different markets, but work on one at a time. So I tend to want to I can service everybody. I can help everybody. But it allowed me to say, okay, if this is who I'm going to speak to, this is all of whether it's the SEO or the content that I'm creating is directed, the language, all of it definitely needs to be at once, one type of person.
Right. So
menopausal women.
So your content marketing, you would say, okay, I have this person who is a menopausal woman, and I want to create content that's especially for them, kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah. And so the language is a little bit different for menopausal women than it is for a 20-year-old. Female,
different target audience, right?
Different target. So that really helped me. I know, but I'm still 20 in my heart, I guess.
We didn't know how easy we had it, did we?
No. Yeah. So I think that was really, really beneficial to, it was like an aha moment of, okay, yes, I understand how I need to direct it just at this particular market for a while, and then build off and have it, I don't know, call it different pillars of market.
Yeah.
Because nutrition can be, right? So, yeah, I totally understand how that works.
Yeah.
It was a good aha.
I think, so after we went through the consultations, and I think we did an accelerated version for you, I think there were 8 or something. And did you find, so you said there were some actionable things after each consultation that you wish you'd had a little bit more time in between to work on. So those, do you think that those are actionable for your business? Do you see did you understand fully how you were going to apply what you learned?
Yes, absolutely. And I also recognize that it's a lot more work and that I need a team.
Right.
So
yes.
Regardless, it's a lot more work, more encompassing than what. It's not simple. It's not always simple. Oh, wait, not easy or not simple. Either way, it's, you know what, having a team to help you out is not a bad thing.
It's a time thing.
Yeah.
How do you want to spend the time in your business, doing what you do or working on these other things, right?
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
And now you know what you need to do. You can build the team around that, whether it's, hiring, like we do some of the services, but for some people it makes sense to hire someone internally to work in their business who can learn those things.
Exactly.
And you've now learned, what is the saying? You can give a man a fish and feed him for a day, or you can teach him to fish for a lifetime.
That's right.
Feed himself.
Exactly.
I know I never get those right, but I know.
I understand what you mean.
It is there. Yeah. So, what did you find most rewarding about the consultations? Like, if you had to look back again and say, okay, I spent this dollar amount on these consultations, what was the most value, do you think?
I would definitely say it was the direction and understanding of that market and focusing entirely on that through the whole strategy, not diverting off. I think that was the biggest
takeaway.
Value. Yeah, the biggest takeaway. And obviously getting your time is invaluable, honestly, like to get your expertise and direction was really helpful.
Yeah, and we have, it's not just myself. There's obviously people on our team too that have a lot of knowledge. It depends on what we're consulting on as to who is going to be doing it. But in your case, it was you and I, and we had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun working on your project too and managing your project. Now, one of the consultations was related to brand photography. So can you tell me what that was like for you?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Excuse me.
No problem. So having a photographer, so you guys gave me a proposal and I was like, oh yeah, okay, let me just see. I want to get some other proposals and quotes from other agencies or other photographers as well. And I did. And of course I went with a more cost-effective because, you're on a budget and you want to do that. But at the end of the day, I would have preferred to have gone with Original Ginger because you guys just know my brand inside and out. Not only that, but the time it took me to put together a photo shoot when I really don't know anything about photo shoots. So it took a lot of effort, a lot of money. I actually ended up spending more on it than what your original quote was. So that was a lesson for me to understand. And not that I regret it.
No, I thought the photos turned out really well. We're using them on your website. And those are, now that you have those skills and the knowledge of doing that, next time wouldn't be as hard.
I wouldn't actually do it that way. I would hire, like yourself, I would actually hire an agency to just set it up and I show up to the
it's
site.
A lot of work.
And it was a lot of work. Did I enjoy it? Yes and no, right?
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, I'd say I was like, well, the day before, I'm like, I'm really stressed. I shouldn't have done it this way. It was too much stress for me.
And stress isn't good.
Yeah. No. And I was like, why? But at the end of the day, the photos still turned out really great. And I think if you guys had run it, they would have turned out a little bit different, a little more lifestyle versus that portrait. And that's what the direction was, but it just still at the end of it, like for me, the results were, hey, these are still a little more portrait style, not necessarily the lifestyle all the way across.
Right.
So, you know, I learned a lot. I learned a lot for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's something to be said for that, right? So, and what was the biggest worry related to brand photography? Like when you were going into this, what was your biggest worry? That it was going to be stressful and then it was, or?
Well, I actually didn't know that it would be quite that stressful.
Okay.
And organizing and figuring out each shot and how to place things. I'm like, oh yeah. So I just didn't know that it encompassed that much.
Right.
So yeah, I learned a lot in that.
Did you find time went just by so quickly on the day of the shoot, like way faster than you thought it would?
Yeah, it went pretty fast.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. And we didn't get as many outdoor ones as I had hoped, but where we were in like downtown Vancouver, it's not like there's a whole lot of options for that time period. It would have been best to have two separate
days
shoots.
or something.
Yeah.
So we had given you some information in the consultation about how to go about a brand shoot. And this was instead of us doing the shoot for you, we were going to try to give you information to make things easier, even though, you know, it's a lot of work and it is stressful putting it together when you've never done it before. Did you find the tips helpful?
Oh, they were really helpful. Okay. Actually, super helpful.
Yeah.
But a little overwhelming at the same time for a newbie. For you guys, I'm sure it's like, no brainer. But for me, as someone who's never done it, it was overwhelming at the same time as it was.
Plus, you're working with a photographer you've never worked with before.
That's true.
Right. I mean, that's a big difference as well. So
for sure.
Okay. So I'm just going to wrap up our interview with a few questions about the project as a whole, if I may.
Yeah.
So do you feel that you save time and money working with an expert through this process?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And did anything you learn make the project make you think differently about your business?
Think differently?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I would say the biggest thing is that I need to make it simpler. That's all. Right. I don't need everything in one basket all at one time. So I'd say that was a good takeaway for me. Is like, oh, you know what? Simple. Keep it simple.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. That's for my business side, right? I don't need.
Focus.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yes. Focus and keep it.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. Even my offerings, you don't need a big, huge offering.
Yeah.
To do good and have a good ROI and you know, I would rather excel at one thing.
Yeah.
I think at this point. So
and
I learned that.
Out about it.
Yeah, I really learned that. And I mean, from a nutrition standpoint, there's a lot of components, right? So even narrowing it down, there's still offshoots. And I think that's okay, but I'd like to keep it really simple. That's what I've recognized is like, no, I just want simple.
Yeah. So looking back at the launch of Michelle Simpson Wellness, what were the most challenging and most rewarding parts to the process? The big wins, the small milestones, this is kind of our last question. What was your, start with your biggest milestone. Let's start with your biggest milestone.
Completing.
Yeah.
Because quite frankly, often when I've done websites for myself before, they're incomplete. So this is a big deal that, hey, it's actually complete. Everything is set up. It's done. So that for me, it's a big milestone, a big win. Yeah. Secondly, having some direction and knowing that it looks great. Like I can easily just put it out there and be good with it. So that's really great too.
Have you had any feedback about your brand since it launched?
Yeah, people have definitely said, oh, it looks so great. You know, the photos look great. The colors are great. The website looks great. Even the social content that I've put out, people are really enjoying as well. So yeah.
Awesome.
It's consistency. That's the biggest thing that I have a downfall for. I no longer have you guys to keep me on track.
Accountable. Yeah.
And accountable. So yeah. So that would be my biggest challenge moving forward is be accountability. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's looking good. The website's looking good. You know, we continue to maintain your website for you. And then you're busy in the background working on your content marketing, and you'll get there. You know where you need to go, you know what you
I
need to
do.
do, so you're going to get there.
Yes,
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
will. And yeah, it's just a matter of staying focused on it.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, it was a pleasure working with you on the project, and I do thank you for your time today for the interview. I think the
Yeah.
information is valuable for anybody who's kind of thinking about how they should go about launching their own business as a small business owner. I think it's helpful to have the feedback of someone like yourself who's doing a similar thing, launching your own brand and your own website and all of those things. Maybe, you know, you've hopefully, and with this interview, were able to answer questions for them that they may have had about what to expect when you're starting your own business, but also about working with with an agency like Original Ginger. So let's just end with, people can find you, Michelle, at Michelle Simpson Wellness if you're looking for help with your personal nutrition or health issues related to food and nutrition, and that you've got lots of great offerings, and they are now launched on michellesimpsonwellness.com, new website.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you to Todd and the team. Lisa, you guys have been an absolute pleasure to work with too. And I know for a fact that we're going to work together again.
Yay! I think we will too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so
I really
much
enjoy
for your
it.
time today, Michelle.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my pleasure.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.